As the end of the year comes to a close, I really like to reflect on everything that the previous year has offered and taught me, lessons I've learned, how I've changed in order to prepare myself to go forward and continue to grow in the personal development area as a whole human. And in order to do that, I got an interesting prompt from one of the memberships that I'm a member of. In the Rise Through Style Society by Christy Reisel, who is a stylist, who created this membership that's actually more of a personal development membership that involves your style. She's really evolved it over the last couple of years, and I love it because I'm way into the goals and the living your life as your desired self and all of the things that we learn in multiple different areas. I'm involved in different communities that all kind of essentially say the same thing. In Christy's December content, we are celebrating the finale, the big finish of 2023, so to speak. And one of the homework assignments that we were given was to reflect on the past year and come up with 23 lessons that we have learned, big or small, new or a relearn, that we've learned in this past year. And so today I thought it would be fun to share with you my 23 lessons from 2023. Before we get started, if you're new here, hello, my name is Brianna. I am the diva behind Diva and the Divine. I am a YouTuber, homemaker, and wellness coach, helping women get off the diet roller coaster and get on with their lives. And whether you are a first-time viewer or a long-time subscriber, I am so glad you clicked on this video today to learn about my personal reflection on 2023. Now, I'm going to do my best to get through these as quick as I can because y'all know that I can be a little bit long-winded and 23 items to get through is a lot. So let's get started. First of all, these lessons are, like I said before, they might be new lessons. They might be lessons that you've actually heard me talk about before, but they were important enough where I felt the need to reiterate them in my own list in my personal reflections. So with that, lesson number one is Newton was right. Newton of Newton's law, an object in motion stays in motion and an object at rest stays at rest. And I'm talking about me being the object. And 2023 was actually a lot of time being spent in the metaphorical at rest. And the reality is, if you're an object at rest, you tend to stay at rest unless acted upon by a force. And I'm currently in the beginning stages of trying to act on myself with a force so I can become an object in motion that stays in motion. But the first lesson, which of course we all knew because it's literally a law of physics that we learn in school, Newton was right. An object in motion stays in motion and an object at rest stays at rest. So it's best to continue to build on that momentum when you are in motion, because if you end up at rest, you might stay there for longer than you initially planned. Lesson number two, which was a very, very important lesson for me to learn. My body processes carbohydrates like a champion. I do not need to worry about extensive blood sugar spikes or anything of that nature. As somebody who started tracking her blood sugars on and off throughout the year, I learned, much to my celebration and delight, that contrary to many members of my family who are type 2 diabetics, I am somebody who can eat heavier amounts of carbohydrates and not have the extensive blood sugar spikes. I actually handle those carbohydrates amazingly, which really helps me be able to make informed choices about how my body works nutritionally going forward. Therefore, I know that for me, a low carb diet is not something that is necessary. But moving into lesson number three, my body actually thrives on a slightly higher carb diet. This was essential to learn because spending all of the last 15 or so years in diet culture, we hear carbs are bad, low carb, no carb, get rid of the carbs, bread, bad, rice, bad. And it turns out for my body, that is not the case. And this is such an essential lesson for me to learn and to turn on you, not because maybe your body processes carbs the same way. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying it is important to understand how your individual unique body and biochemistry works, because it's really the epitome of what works for you might not work for me and vice versa. So there are people I know that thrive on low carb diets or lower carb diets. And then there's me. When I am not eating adequate inadequate amounts of carbohydrates, I feel lethargic, grumpy, unsatisfied, munchy, and I just don't have energy. And then lo and behold, when I eat more carbs, I feel better, I do better, I function better, and I have more energy. As somebody with a disability and who has chronic fatigue, anything I can do to improve my energy is a must. And for me, it turns out that A, I process carbs really well, which means B, I can consume more, which I need for better bodily functioning. Lesson number 4 that I've learned this year is I'm obsessed with avocados. Yes, I know I'm late to the avocado is an amazing freaking food train, but I'm on it and there is no going back. I am obsessed with avocados. They are almost actually, like literally the healthiest food on the face of this planet. Full of healthy fats. They have fiber. They're just like the miracle, like God smiled and said, here is the life-giving food of the avocado. And I'm obsessed with them. It took me a while. I'm sorry I'm late, but I'm here now. Lesson number 5 is I'm also obsessed with feta cheese. Don't ask me why, don't ask me how. There is something about the tangy, salty goodness that I throw it on my salads. I'm loving it in eggs. Full fat. I used to, back in my good old Points Plus diet days, I would buy fat-free feta cheese from Trader Joe's. Why? Because it was an easily accessible fat-free cheese. That's literally the only reason why I bought it. Little did I know how much years later I'd actually just really enjoy the flavor of feta cheese. Oh my gosh, I'm freaking obsessed. Lesson number 6, it is okay to completely change course and release what is no longer serving you. It shows growth. This was most definitely reflected in my choice to leave the dieting world and embrace a lifestyle of intuitive eating, which is completely contrary to how I've done all of my content in the past, how I've started my coaching business, and how I've lived the last 15 plus years of my life, deeply entrenched in dieting and weight loss. And I finally got to a point where it was just no longer serving me. And the change that I made at the very beginning of July has proven to be worth every ounce of the change. That doesn't mean it's not without its growing pains for sure, both on a mental, emotional, and physical and business level. But it's okay. It's okay to change. It's okay to change and allow that change to happen naturally and when the timing is right, and it's okay to have growing pains along the way. Lesson number 7 is I feel amazing when I cook things or bake things from scratch. I was reminded of this. I'm reminded of this every time I successfully bake or cook something that's like, oh my gosh, a restaurant could not have done better. But I was especially reminded of this when I started making cranberry bliss bars from the recipe that I shared earlier in Vlogmas, Belle of the Kitchen. I have now made them twice and I brought them to small group last night, and the response, people are like, these are freaking amazing. And I'm slowly becoming known as like the baker of the group. Like when I show up with something, it's typically responded to with a lot of excitement and a lot of enjoyment, which makes me feel really good. But I was also reminded of this the other day when I, for the 3rd time, made teriyaki sauce from scratch. I know exactly what was in it, in what quantities, no added fillers or preservatives or anything like that. And you know what? It's freaking delicious. And every time I make this sauce, I go, what other sauces can I make? What other things can I do homemade so I don't have to buy them pre-done from the store? Or what can I do to make them better than the store or cheaper and better than the store? And I feel like $1,000,000 when I successfully create something with basic ingredients in my own 2 hands. And so 2024 is going to consist of me doing that and experimenting with that a lot more. Number 8 is a lesson that I've learned, but also we all need to learn in here again. Just because something works for somebody else doesn't mean it's going to work for you. This is a lesson that I think, especially in the fitness influencer, diet influencer society that we live in now, is really important to remember. Just because someone, including myself, hops online and is like, look what I did. I'm eating exactly 1,347 calories and 123 grams of protein, and I shed 10 pounds in 2 months. Doesn't mean it's gonna work for you. First of all, it doesn't mean it's necessarily true because people can make things up. And number two, it doesn't mean it's going to work for you. If I took somebody with my exact same age, height, and weight, and we ate the exact same diet, our bodies would respond completely differently. And that's okay. We are all made to be unique. So it's really important to keep in mind, especially when it's a specific program. Here's a meal plan. Here's a list of do and don't foods. Here's a list of a certain number of carbohydrates you should eat in a day. Be wary. Just because it worked for somebody else doesn't mean it's going to be the right thing for you. And it's important for you to discern between the two. Lesson number 9 is just because it worked for you in the past doesn't mean it works for you now. This is super, super important to remember. As we age, as we grow, as we change, the things that worked in the past might not be the right things, the right choices, the right diets, the right programs, the right job, relationship, whatever for us now. And acknowledging that and being able to move on from that is super, super important. For example, in the past, when I was 23, 24, 10 years ago, 10 years ago, yes. Let's use round numbers and say 10 years ago. That is when I lost 57 pounds using a specific plan over a specific period of time. Nowadays, that plan does not serve me in any way, shape, or form anymore. So even if I had the desire to lose the same amount of weight, which spoiler alert, I do not, that was too low, it might not work the same way. It will not work the same way. I've tried. I've gotten back on that bandwagon time and time and time again. And guess what? It didn't work like it did when I was 24. It didn't work. And that's fine. So keep in mind that sometimes the things that served you in the past are no longer the things that you need. Lesson number 10 is listening to your hunger and fullness cues will change your body more than any diet ever will. Yeah, I said it. We're just gonna let that process and move on. Lesson number 11, diet culture is everywhere and it is highly toxic. And here's the thing. The more you learn about what diet culture is, the more you remove those rose-colored glasses that your tracking or your program or whatever it is you want put on you, and you see things for what they are, you can't unsee them. And it's kind of crazy once you've taken those rose-colored glasses off and you start looking around and you're like, oh, and I was in that. Y'all, go back and watch some of my old videos. While there's a lot of great content that still rings true in a lot of my content, even from the beginning, except for the juice cleanses. Don't do those. But within that, as I watch some old vlogs and something and I listen to myself speak, I sit there and I shake my head and I go, you poor girl. You don't even know what you're doing to yourself. You don't even know how diet culture toxic that statement was. You have no idea. And it's just crazy when you realize that. Lesson number 12, which I've known for years, but it was reiterated to me again, and I'm approaching it a lot better than I have in the past, and that is, it is not worth an iota of my time to engage with the negativity of keyboard warriors and people on the internet. It's just not. I have a finite amount of mental bandwidth and positivity that I can use every single day. And when I make the decision to let something that some stranger on the internet, that somebody who was triggered by something I said, somebody who's having a bad day through no fault of my own, when I decide to let their negative comment affect me in a negative way, I'm literally giving them a piece of my awesomeness, a piece of my power that could be used somewhere else. It can be used somewhere else. So I'm learning and I'm continuing to learn and grow in the whole let's not give them an ounce of my time stuff. So it's a good reminder. Number 13, lesson number 13, lucky 13 is I am addicted to my phone. And it kind of needs to stop. It kind of literally as it's in my hand. To be fair, the list that I'm reading off of is on my phone, but I'm addicted to my phone. Hi, I'm Brianna and I am a phone addict. In 2024, one of the primary goals, one of the actual things I have written down is to break up with my phone. Break up with my phone. I have a 1,000 hours tracker, and one of those 1,000 hours trackers is going to be dedicated to hours spent without my phone. And the goal, I'm hoping to exceed 1,000 hours in a year. But the reality is 1,000 hours in a year is a great place to start. That means my phone is not in my presence. I am not touching it. I am not using it. I am not looking at it. And anything that is on the phone can wait. If it is important, people will call me. And that's all I need to know. Lesson number 14 is letting go of dieting, tracking, weighing, measuring, being overly concerned with the number on the scale is the best thing I could have ever possibly done for myself. I truly regret that I didn't come to this conclusion sooner, but every step of the journey that I took was an essential step for me to get to the place that I was in now. So I am grateful for that journey. But oh my gosh, am I so much better off now that I have let go of dieting, let go of tracking. Everything just feels lighter. Everything feels easier. I want to be healthy. I want to do the exercising and the moving, not because I have to, not because I'm sticking to a diet of any kind, but because I just genuinely want to feel good in my body and do healthy things for my body. And it's such a mindset shift that is full of freedom that I wish on every single one of you. Lesson number 15 stems right off of that one, and that is letting go of dieting does not mean letting go of health-promoting behaviors and goals. There, I said it. And some of the anti-diet diehards are actually going to be really mad at me about it, but here's the thing. I truly believe, and what I believe about this is all that matters for my journey, that I can let go of dieting, let go of tracking, weighing, measuring, being overly concerned about how many calories are in a recipe of any kind. It's been so easy to make recipes now that I don't have to track them. I can't even tell you. But it doesn't mean I don't have health goals. It doesn't mean that I don't want to actively work to get stronger and change the composition of my body and make sure I'm eating adequate protein and fiber and produce and drinking enough water and moving my body enough. They're not mutually exclusive. They're not mutually exclusive. You can let go of dieting and want to continue to improve your health. You can let go of tracking and want to eat a generally nutritious diet that fuels your body for the life you want to live. You can let go of the number on the scale and still want to work out and become your strongest, best, fittest self. You can do both. It's a big lesson. Lesson number 16, the block button on the internet is magic. It's magical. I have entered a time in my life where instead of leaning into my 8 wing on the Enneagram and biting back whenever there is a hateful or nasty or just negative comment that is unnecessary and not helpful, instead of biting back, which is what I would do in the past, I would snap back and try and be sassy and whatever, I block the person. I had to do this not too long ago. I had to do it about a month ago. Somebody just decided that they had it out for me that day. They had it out for me. I don't know what I did to offend them. I have absolutely no idea. But they decided that I was wrong, I was terrible, and I just deserved all of the vitriol that they could give me. And you know what I did? I blocked them. And you know what? Haven't heard from them since. No more negative energy coming my way. No more mental bandwidth being spent on the negative person who doesn't need to be on my channel if they're just going to be a jerk. Like, the block button is magical. Try it sometime. This one is actually a recent one, and it's really, really important for me going forward. Number 17, people unfollowing you aren't meant for you, and them leaving makes room for the people that are. This is something that hits obviously really close to home to me because all year long, and especially since I've decided to leave the dieting world, I've been losing followers. Especially on YouTube, losing subscribers. Your average subscriber growth over 28 days has been in the negative, literally like all but 3 days of this year. And normally, and people hate watching right now are loving that I just admitted that. I have no shame in that, and here's why. The people leaving aren't the people that belong with me. They're not. If you want to unfollow me, please leave. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. I have no problem with that, honestly. Like, truly. I'd rather have 10,000 subscribers that actually care about the content I'm currently creating and want to hear the messages that I'm currently giving instead of people that don't care, don't want to learn, want to sit there to be hateful. Like, it's fine. And I heard something recently about like people leaving often means you're making room for new people to come in, right? So if I'm regularly losing subscribers, I have all the faith in the world that as long as I continue to be diligent and authentic in creating this message on my channel, whatever my message decides to be, right? I'm a learning, growing, and continually evolving being. So who knows where all of my messages will be, but I share my faith. I share my journey into intuitive eating and letting go of dieting and the joy that that has brought me. I share bits of homemaking, little bits of being disabled, and little bits of everything in between, right? And as my message evolves, I want the people who are meant to be a part of my community to be here. And sometimes you have to go through the growing pains of letting the other people go before you can get the new people in. So now every time I just see a negative number, I say, bye, Felicia, and I let them go, and no harm, no foul, and no negative energy. I'm big on the no negative energy if you haven't caught that. Lesson number 18, when I put more effort into my appearance, I feel better and I do better. Do it more often. And this is just true. I know there are some people that are like, I couldn't care a single iota if my hair is done, if I have makeup on, or if I'm in anything other than pajamas pants. And more power to you if that is the case. For me, personally, I show up better for myself and for others and for you on the camera. Why am I on camera today? Because I decided to get up, work out first thing, shower, get dressed, and get ready. And so now, with the downtime that I have, I can sit and film a video. I'm showing up in a way that I otherwise would not have. I show up better. I feel better. I'm a little bit more flirty with my husband. All of these things when I have the self-confidence boost that I feel is necessary for me. So I need to show up for myself more in a way that is taking care of my appearance. Another goal of 2024. Lesson number 19, performing music still lights your soul on fire. Do it more often. I was in a choir this past year. Yes, it might have given me COVID, but you know what? I had such a good time creating this music. And it's a great reminder that like, hey, that spark is still deep in your soul. Please continue to fan that flame because you feel like $1,000,000 when you do. Lesson number 20, transitions take time. Do the work and the rest will follow. And that kind of stems off of my whole let the followers lead so the right people will come type of thing. As long as I trust the process, my job is to show up and do the work and not be concerned with the timeline of things. And it was just a really solid reminder that I've gotten this past year to trust the process in all things. Lesson number 21, I am a generator in human design. Lean into that. And that is exactly what I plan to do. Lesson number 22, cultivating community, like in-person community, real human-to-human contact not happening through a screen, has the power to elevate your life like nothing else. Continue to do the work to grow your community. This is courtesy of my small group. This has been a year that I have been in this small group, in this life group, and it has been fundamentally game-changing for my husband and I to have this community of people that we can regularly hang out with, laugh with, and depend on. It has been glorious, life-changing, and an excellent reminder that you need community in your life, real in-person community. And lesson number 23 is one that I have said time and time and time again, but you're gonna hear it one more time. Let's be real, this is not the last time you've heard it. Lesson number 23 that I have re-engaged with, re-appreciated as truth is you are 100% in control of your own actions. Because when I have trust in that, when I know for certainty that I am in control of my own actions, I am in control of whether or not I gorge myself on popcorn or cookies or desserts, or if I decide to make myself a nourishing meal that's gonna make me feel good. Knowing that I am in total control of whether or not I decide to work out today or not. Knowing I am in control of whether or not I decide to scroll social media for 2 hours or actually show up and do work in my business. Knowing that it's my responsibility and completely within my control to take those actions or not take those actions gives me all the power to continue to show up in a way that is important and in a way that gets things done, in a way that makes me get closer to my goals, and in a way that I can be proud of every single day. There you go, my friends, 23 lessons that I have learned in 2023. I really liked having this homework assignment because the reflection on this really makes you stop and think, okay, like 23 is a lot of lessons to stop and reflect on. So having to come up with these was really a good reminder. It puts them all in a list and now in a video of like, hey, remember, these things are things you learned and you need to keep at the forefront of your mind always. So I hope that these lessons might have sparked a little something in you you like they have in me. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, joined the Diva and the Divine community because my content is for you and meant for you, then go ahead and click that subscribe button. I would love to have you. In the comment section down below, let me know 1 or 2 lessons that you have learned and embraced in 2023. I would love to hear them. Thank you guys for watching. Take care, and I will see you all again very soon. Bye.